that? We got one going. Shoot. Chapter 21. Susan's failure was chapter 20. Chapter 21 is the light on the bike. I'm having trouble with my lights, and I don't know where my light on my bike is. We don't help out. Not the one I want. All right, come on. Must be low on battery because I can't get it to do what I want it to do. I can hold it out there. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see if I can make it shine a little bit over there. John Kramer rolled down the driveway with the two Goliath toys attached to the handlebars of his Spirit Flyer. Susan wasn't the only person watching John as he turned toward Barry's house. Other eyes were very interested in the changes coming over the boy. Mrs. Happy was at the back of the toy store looking through the black window. Nail was perched on her shoulder. They had both watched John put the Goliath Faster Blaster and the combo gizmo on the Spirit Fly on the boy's bike, old red bicycle. Mrs. Happy was working two black hooks inside the window as if she were knitting. The old woman smiled as she heard John arguing with Susan. See how the flame burns in the boy? Mrs. Happy said. The darts were well, if I do say so myself, the fiery darts of the wicked one. The fire has been building. We'll see a feast of ashes tonight. Ashes from the flame, the crow croaked. Ashes from the flame, the crow croaked. Mrs. Happy leaned forward and blew through the window. The deep blue flame burned invisibly inside John. As Mrs. Happy blew, the flames burned brighter. You'll either work or I'll get a bicycle that will make them work, John was saying. Mrs. Happy laughed. This may be easier than we first thought, the old woman said, watching John pedal down the street. After the campaign is really rolling properly and the point system established, the Bureau may set me up as a district manager, or maybe I could get an even better position back in television. My numbers should go up considerably higher, the ashes of success. The old woman laughed, and she laughed some more. She worked the hooks faster. See you around, the boy sneered and rolled down the driveway on his flat tires. He's almost there, Mrs. Happy whispered, just a little more and gotcha. As John rolled out of the driveway, he reached down to adjust the faster blaster. The moment he touched the odd new weapon, the Spirit Flyer skidded to a halt beneath him. Susan, who was still watching, was just as surprised as John. She knew he hadn't touched the brake. He pushed on the pedals to make it go forward. Come on, you stupid bike, John muttered, and at that instant the bike began moving. But instead of going ahead, the old bicycle began moving backward. John yelped and held on. He pushed on the brake, but that only made the Spirit Flyer move faster. The wheels were already brake tight. But the bike was still moving backward, as if being dragged along. The tires skidded down the street, leaving long, ragged, zigzagging black marks on the pavement. As the bicycle moved faster, the skidding tires began to smoke. John shook the handlebars, but when he tried to move his hands, he couldn't. They seemed to be glued fast. John yelled, looking back at Susan. He shook the handlebars some more. John, Susan called. She had been watching with her mouth open. She had never seen such an odd sight. John had already skidded backward a block before Susan could even think to move. Help, John called, skidding around the corner. The smoking tires burned on the pavement. The smoking skid marks burned on the pavement. The bike moved even faster as it carried the boy out of sight. The stinking black smoke of the melting tires covered the boy like a cloud. The tires skidded away, leaving big holes. Then the rubber inside the tubes wore quickly through to the bare metal of the wheels. The wheels scraped and flashed like two sparklers. John shifted in the seat to look backward to see where he was going. He jerked his hands once more, but they seemed to be welded solid to the handlebars. Not again, John whimpered to himself. I didn't even touch the gear lever. I don't even have it on the bike. Then the boy looked down to see the Goliath faster plastic and combo gizmo stuck on the handlebars where the old mirror and rubber horn belonged. The bike moved faster. The noise of the grinding wheels made his head hurt. John kept looking for someone to help him, but the streets were empty. The whole town of Centerville seemed stopped, frozen in time, or asleep. Within a few minutes, John had hit Crofts Road, and the bike headed out of town, still going backwards. Come on, Susan, John said, or somebody, but the bike just sped up, leaving a long trail of sparks shooting into the air. The wheels screeched as the bicycle turned the corner onto the old dump road, then bounced across the bridge over the sleepy Eye River. When John hit the bumpy road on the other side of the bridge, he felt as if he would fall off for sure. But that wasn't possible because his hands were still stuck to the handlebars. Dust rose up in a flurry as the wheels dug into the ruts and potholes. John bounced so much he felt as if he would just shake apart. The dump was coming up fast on his left. The bike turned on into the dump area, spraying dust and gravel everywhere. John hoped that his ride was finally over. It was being dragged straight toward the smoking mountain of trash. The fire had burned away half the pile. Smoke and ashes smoldered in the place where John had been digging earlier. A blackened set of wire bed springs lay in a heap on top of the ashes. The bicycle went backward right into the smoking trash. Finally, the bike slid to a halt on the dirt. A cloud of dust hung in the air. That's when John saw the toys right in front of him. At the end of the path, not more than 15 feet away, were boxes and boxes of toys. Shimmering in the ashes, they were miraculously untouched by the fire. The toys were so bright and new they almost seemed to have a life of their own. John smiled greedily for an instant. Then he noticed the black window. What was left of the back wheel had stopped at the edge of the strange black surface. The boy had been staring so hard at the toys that he forgot everything else for a moment, and John suddenly felt cold. The air was split, the screeching sound of a freight train wheels grinding on the gravel. John knew without looking what he would see. The giant chain moved slowly up out of the trash, through the boxes of toys. The heavy link slid toward the boy on the battered bicycle. That's when the eyes and the skin and the scales of the huge snake slowly appeared around the chain in almost a ghost-like way. The snake slowly circled around the boy on the bike. The blank red eyes didn't even seem to see John. The head burrowed back through the ashes and the trash, and then disappeared down into the black window. As if it were slipping into an oily black pond. The snake's body pulled tighter around the bike and the boy, squeezing them out of the pool of darkness. John yelled and squirmed, kicking at the sides of the ghostly serpent's body. But the pull from the deeper world was stronger. The battered bike and boy were sucked into the blackness in an instant. Susan stared down the driveway after John as soon as he was dragged around the corner. She had heard a horn blow, but she hadn't stopped to listen. As she hit the street, a bolt of black lightning swept in front of her face in a screaming cry. She fell sideways as the bike went down. Nail flew back up into the air and then dove down again as Susan tried to get up. Susan put her hands up to shield her face. She dropped the bike again. The crow flew higher and circled above her. Susan was about to get a broom from the garage to protect herself, but decided against it. I've got to help John, she murmured to herself. She picked up the old red bicycle once more and hopped on. The horn blew again. The crow dived, but went wide this time. Susan started pedaling. The street was filled with smoke from the burning skid marks, which made the girl cough. She didn't question why there would be so much smoke. She just tried to go forward, but she could barely believe her eyes when the boiling skid marks on the road began to writhe and wriggle like they had hundreds of snakes. Susan stared at the bubbling tar of one of the skid marks in front of her. Right before her eyes, it wiggled off the pavement toward her bicycle, and there wasn't only one, but a whole street full of smoking, writhing snakes. They came at her with red eyes. One squirmed its way into the spokes of her old red bicycle. Before she could dodge it, she braked. Susan reached down to pull the snake off when the hissing open mouth struck her hand. Susan leaped off the Spirit Flyer. Another skid mark snake. Wriggled toward the old red bike. Circling it and circling in and out, around and over the frame. Susan leaped back as the snake clamped on her bicycle. I don't have good enough light. If only someone were here, she said, but the street seemed strangely empty for that time of day. More and more of the black snakes oozed toward the fallen bicycle. Susan felt sickened to see the snakes attacking the Spirit Flyer. Please help me, she said. Then, holding her breath, Susan ran into the midst of the snakes and grabbed the handlebars. The Spirit Flyer seemed to right itself at her touch, throwing the snakes off in a flash. Susan was on the old red bike, but snakes were coming back, oozing and smoking, their staring red eyes fixed on the girl. As if by instinct, Susan reached down and touched the old broken headlight of the Spirit Flyer. Right on top was a little lever, the on and off switch. The old skid-marked snake slid toward her in smoky trails as she turned the lever. Susan turned the lever. Like a mighty rushing wind, the light whooshed on, so bright the rest of the town seemed suddenly plunged into night. The snake squealed and popped, sizzling back into black smoke in an instant. Inside the beautiful light, the beam of light, Susan squinted. When she was sure the snakes were gone, she flipped the lever. The town seemed to return to normal. Thank you, she said softly to the old red bike. The only signs of the snakes were a few lines of sticky tar here and there on the pavement. Susan pedaled the Spirit Flyer a little way, then aimed for the clouds. She rose over the neighbor's roof and gained speed, but John was nowhere to be seen. She passed over the town, then sped on. She banked in midair and waited. I can't find him, she whispered to the old bike, but I know he is in danger. The wheels began to turn by themselves, and Susan held on as the bike gained speed. Soon they were flying out over Crofts Road. When they passed over the Sleepy Eye, Susan knew they were headed for the dump. Susan held on as the Spirit Flyer zoomed over the forest and fields below. The bike flew closer to the ground as the dump came into sight. The girl on the old bike landed on the ground just inside the gate and sped toward the smoking mountain of trash and ashes. Susan stumped back on the brakes, skidded to the edge of the darkness where two dark reflections. Skidding to the edge of the huge black window. She looked down. Staring back up at the girl from the darkness were two dark reflections of herself. One face was almost transparent and laughing. The other face seemed solid and calm. This is the end, Susan, the laughing face said. You've reached the end of your fears, the edge of your fears. You have to stop now. So sorry. You're lying, Susan said in spite of herself. You're not real. You get what you see, little double me, the ghostly reflection replied. You're afraid, and I'm onto your side. I'm on your side. Forget it. John's not worth the trouble. He's chosen his chain. Run away before it's too late. Susan looked around. For the first time, she noticed some shadowy, dark scales on the ground and saw the sliding track of the giant snake in the dust and ashes. The scales, if they were real, if they were real, were bigger than plates. If only Grandfather Kramer were here, Susan said. I don't know what to do. The choice is yours, Susan, the solid, calm face said. It's not by might or my power, but by my spirit. The kings are calling you. Listen, and don't be afraid. Go forward in the light, as he is in the light. The light, Susan. Nonsense, the other face replied and laughed. You're smarter than that. You can't do it. The pull of the chain is too strong. If you enter the darkness, you'll be pulled away too. John's already a slave. Run away now before the chain tightens. Save yourself, you know. Susan leaned over the edge. The voices bounced around inside her head in echoes that got louder and louder. The light, Susan, she said, as to herself, as from deep within inside the darkness that reminded her. She said to herself, from deep inside the darkness that surrounded her, the light, the choice is yours. That was the end of the chapter. Okay. Sorry about that. I mean, I got to come up with some better lighting. I can hardly see the darn book. So, my daughter, for Father's Day, we've been writing back and forth, and she thanked me for reading a bunch of books when we were kids. And I asked her when they were kids. She remembered that still, and I asked her what I'd read, and she said Pilgrim's Progress, Ride the River, Patrick O'Manus. I read some of those. She didn't mention Spirit Flyer, and she didn't mention Chronicles of Narnia. I wrote her and asked her if she remembered me reading Chronicles of Narnia if I read those. So anyway, she remembered some of the books, so I'm going to try to read some of them. So I'm going to let go now. My voice is kind of cruddy, and I know I'm not set up very good here, and I forgot to turn the air conditioner off, so oh well, too bad, so sad, and all that good stuff. Hopefully you can hear me. If not, I'll redo it sometime tomorrow. It's not that good, so I don't really feel like talking a lot. I got a lot to say, but I'm just tired. It's late. It's like 11 o'clock, something like that. So I need to get ready for bed. And yeah, we'll talk tomorrow. A lot of things going on here, and I need prayer. Please pray for me. So many forces allied against me. King David said, do not I hate them that hate thee, O Lord. And, I hate them with a perfect hatred. I'm not hateful, but some of the, what's called imprecatory psalms might come into play, where David prayed that they fall into the pit they dig for themselves, and I think that will happen. People are being evil. They're speaking with the evil voices in their head, like that scene there where she saw two Susans, the evil one and the good one. Go walk in the light as he is in the light. That's what we need to be doing. But if you're speaking words that are not your words, they're coming from another person's mind, another person's brain. If you're quoting another person, and I've seen this happen far too often, saying bad things about me, and then someone else repeats the exact same words. That you're not speaking with your own brain. You're speaking with somebody else's brain, and the words that you took out of somebody else's brain came from the devil, came from the demons, daimons. So, if you're speaking evil about others, and especially somebody that's been ministering to help everybody here, if you're speaking evil against me, you are doing evil, and you will be recompensed by Almighty God. I believe so. Be that as it may, I'm praying for mercy and grace. The prophet Habakkuk said, in wrath, remember mercy. Now, what does he mean by that? I don't know. In the poem, I took it to mean, in wrath, remember mercy. The prophet Habakkuk pled. Their judgments are our mercies, is how that could be read. In other words, as judgment comes, the good people are going to be blessed. Bad people are going to be, affected, adversely affected, shall we say. And I think judgment's coming on a lot of people. I'm just seeing that. I'm not prophesying, I'm not hoping for it, but I think when you sin, if you drive through a stop sign and there's a semi coming in the other direction, and he had a green light, and you had a red light, and he had a green light. You go through the red light, and you get T-boned. Whose fault is that? It's your fault for being stupid, for disobeying the laws, ignoring the signs, ignoring the red light. The red light means stop. If you go through that red light, you might get smacked. And that's what's happening. People are breaking the law. They're driving through red lights. They're angry. They're hateful. They're despiteful. They're trying to destroy, kill, steal, and destroy. Stealing is not right. And someone right now is planning to steal hundreds of dollars from me. And that's not right. And I think they'll pay for it big time. I pray they don't do it. I hope they don't do it. I'm counseling them not to do it. I'm telling them, be wise. Take some time off, take a break, take a week off, pray for a while, get on your knees, seek Almighty God. Don't do something stupid. Don't steal. Don't try to attack me. Don't try to hurt me. You'll only get hurt in return. So that's all. Okay. Good night. God bless. Hallelujah. Anybody on? A couple of people. So I get this thing out of there. Squeeze. Yeah, bad light, and I can't get the book close enough to me. I was holding the book where I could see the lights, so I'll try to get it set up better. I've lost another flashlight. I gotta find that. That would have helped a lot. All right, good night. God bless. Sorry for the bad reading. Maybe I'll redo the whole chapter. I wasn't reading good or seeing good, or the light was bad, and the whole just messed the other way around. So maybe I'll just redo the whole thing. All right. Well, thanks for joining, John. John Creasy. Come on. Yeah, the book was too far away. I had to have it where I could see it, and it was too far away with my glasses. I needed to have the book closer. So anyway, I'll redo it probably. Good night. Thank you. God bless.